Alright boys, so about 3 weeks ago I made a video on how to get high stat armor in Destiny 2. And that video, well, did a lot better than I expected it to do. But since I made that video, Bungie has added a ton of new activities slash places slash just where you can get high stat armor to drop. So today I, Papa myfi, am going to be giving you all the information you need when it comes to armor stats, what armor stats do, what certain stats you should be looking for, and finally, how you can get your hands on some juicy high stat armor. But you know the drill. If you're new and only if you enjoy the videos or have ever found them useful, then be sure to subscribe. Also, I live stream daily over on twitch.tv/myfi with an underscore at the end. So if you want to come out, say what's up, or just tell me how ugly I am, then by all means, go for it. Tonight is Terror Tuesday. On Tuesdays, I play through a horror game slash like scary game, and tonight is that night. Normally I play Destiny 2, but tonight, Terror Tuesday. Okay, enough of all the plugs, let's get into it. So first up, what are armor stats and what do they do? Armor stats are specific values on each piece of armor that go into an overall pool of specific values that affect your in-game abilities. So, for example, if you have 2 mobility on your helmet, 2 mobility on your gauntlets, 2 mobility on your chest armor, 2 mobility on your leg armor, and 2 mobility on your class item, well, then your character's overall mobility would be 10, because 5 pieces of armor times 2 mobility per piece equals 10. But hey, you probably already knew what 5 times 2 is. I had to use a calculator. I don't want to talk about it. Now, a little tip I will give is if you were to hover over that 10 mobility stat at the bottom, you would see one white block with a number 1 in it. The game will take whatever overall value you have of that specific stat and break it up into tiers of 1 through 10. So if you have 10 out of 100 mobility, then that would be the same as having 1 out of 10. Now, something I will say right here, because I did just mention, the 10 out of 100. Yes, stats can only go up to 100. Technically, they can go higher, but if they do go higher, then in-game, if you hover over, it will literally tell you stats going above 100 do nothing. There is no point to have a stat above 100 as it does nothing. So, if you hear someone say, I have 7 mobility, well, what they actually mean is they have anywhere from 70 to 79 out of 100 mobility. Now, something else I will say right here is that there is no difference in 70 to 79 in a stat. Now, if you were to go from 79 to 80, you would be leaving the 7th tier of that stat and going into the 8th tier of that stat, meaning you would then get a better benefit as opposed if you were at 79. And the same thing goes if you were at 70 and you drop down to 69. Well, at that point, you are leaving the 7th tier and you are going down to the 6th tier. So if you're trying to go from 75 to 76 mobility because you think it's better, well, it's not. Don't bother. Only bother if it's actually going to take you up to another tier. And now finally, when someone says a piece of armor is 60 base stats, that means the specific values for each stat on that particular piece of armor, when combined together, total to 60. So say you had a helmet and it had 10 in every single stat on it. So that's 10 mobility, 10 resilience, 10 recovery, 10 intellect, 10 discipline, and 10 strength. Well, 10 times 6 is 60. It's 60 base. And that is without any mods. So you can't put an intellect mod on it and now it's 70 and now it's 70 base. No, if you put a mod on it, then it's not a base anymore. That's with a mod. And now speaking of mods, yes, you can add mods to a particular piece of armor to increase a certain stat on that armor. It's super self-explanatory. If you have a piece of armor that has 20 recovery and then you put, a recovery mod on it, then it's going to go up to 30. Every single mod that affects stats goes up by 10, pretty much just putting you into another tier. That's what the game is effectively trying to do. Like I mentioned earlier, tiers, they matter. Now, getting into each specific stat and what it does. Mobility increases your movement speed and maximum jump height, but on a hunter also reduces the cooldown of the class ability / the dodge. Resilience increases the amount of damage you can take before dying, but on a titan also reduces the cooldown of the class ability / the barricade. Recovery increases the speed at which you regain lost health, but on a warlock also reduces the cooldown of the class ability / the rift. Discipline decreases the cooldown time of your grenades, allowing you to use them more often. Intellect decreases the cooldown of your super ability, allowing you to use it more often. And finally, Strength decreases the cooldown of your melee ability, allowing you to, you guessed it, use it more often. Now, getting into what armor stats you should be looking for, and well, it really depends. Now, let me explain with a quick example of what I stat into and what I see a lot of other people stat into. For someone that mains a hunter, well, you should probably be statting into mobility for faster dodge regen and recovery for faster health regen. For someone playing on a warlock, you should probably be statting into recovery for faster health regen, but also the ability to get your rift back faster. Then also discipline for faster grenade regen. And then for someone that plays on a Titan, well, it's weird. Titans benefit from having high resilience because it will help them get their barricade back faster, but outside of PvP, resilience is borderline useless. And even inside PvP, having anything over like 6 total resilience is also useless. So for my Titan, I personally stat into recovery and discipline. Now, don't take what I just said and run with it as your end-all be-all goal when it comes to what stats you should be looking for. It really comes down to what goes with your build. If your build requires you to punch like crazy, well then strength is something you might be interested into statting into. If you need your super a ton, then you might want a lot of intellect. It all depends. But if you just want a general rule of thumb and you don't really want to think about it, well then, recovery and discipline are both top tier, grade A, S tier if you will, stats. Resilience, you don't want to worry about unless you're playing PvP, and if you are, then only have about 6 resilience, as anything more would just be going to waste. And finally, mobility is good for you stompy mindbender hunters out there that are always jumping over people, including me, and shotgunning me in the head, and I can't even see you. I'm a little salty, but hey, it's whatever. And there you go. Those are the kind of stats you should be looking for, but remember, it's all about what build you have. And now on to the good part, how to get your hands on these juicy high stat armor pieces. So prior to the release of Season of the Worthy, there were only about 3 ways to get high stat armor consistently. High stat meaning 60 plus base total stats. And that was by doing raids, Iron Banner, or from the Season Pass. Now those 3 ways still stand. The raid armor will still reward you with high stat armor, Iron Banner still drops insane pieces of armor, and the Season Pass armor are all still 60 plus base. And by that, I mean in your Season Pass, you get 3 sets of the same armor depending on what level you are. Now, the third and final set that you get, I think it's around level 40 to 50. All of those are going to be base 60. If you didn't know that, I actually covered that in the last armor stat video I made. So watching that may actually help you out here because all that still stands, except now there's just more ways to get high stat armor. But in addition to everything I just mentioned, Bungie has also made powerful rewards drop at higher stat values. So a lot of people, once they hit the powerful level cap, will stop doing their powerful reward challenges. Now for people that don't care about armor stats, well then that's fine. But if you're still looking for those perfect stat boots, then maybe you should go back to doing them. Next up is going to be prime engrams. Yes, you heard that right. Prime engrams. I used to just disregard prime engrams when I got them, but now I always look at the stats to see if they are better than my current piece. Because I kid you not, I have seen a 70 stat roll from a prime engram. Yeah, 70. That's insane. Next up is going to be Crucible rank up packages. If you don't know, getting a Crucible rank up package awards you with a powerful item. So it's pretty much the same as a powerful drop, meaning yes, they can come with very high base stats. And then finally, there is just the lucky random world drop here and there that will have good base stats. Prior to the season, I had never seen a random world drop with anything more than around a 50 base stat. But now, from time to time, I will get a random piece of armor with 60 plus stats. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen. And yes, I have dismantled some really good stat armor that I didn't know were good till after the fact because I got them as a world drop and was just mindlessly dismantling. Yeah. Also, a little pro tip here at the end, exotic pieces of armor are dropping with some insane stats now. So what I've been doing and what I think you should be doing as well is every time you get an exotic that is a duplicate of an exotic you already have, compare them. as I almost guarantee an exotic you got this season is going to have better stats than an exotic you got last season or the prior seasons. And there you go. Now I need something from you. That's right, you. I need you to let me know in the comment section what is the highest base stat armor you have ever gotten. I want you to flex hard in the comment section. Let me know what piece of armor it was and where you got it. I'm curious, as maybe you got something figured out that I don't. Maybe you know the secret. Maybe there's a secret out there and I just don't know it, and you have all 80 base stat armor. I've never even seen an 80 base stat armor. With all that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, then be sure to drop a like, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.